Hi, this is Kimball Bullington, and this is the second in our video in the M&M problems. And in this problem we have essentially using two tools. One is a Pareto chart, and the second is a line chart. And then the reason why I sort of hesitated on that will be apparent a little bit later. So the Pareto chart is a decreasing frequency distribution or bar chart with a cumulative percent line chart imposed on top of it. And we want it to look like this, where we have these labels for the causes of the defects on the x-axis, and on the y-axis we have just a frequency or number of defective shipments. So let's pull up our Excel spreadsheet here, and pull it into our picture here. And our Pareto is over here. So here we have the reasons. So we'll highlight that. And then down here at the bottom, the cumulative over the 10-week time frame, that's what we're looking for to plot against it. But if I highlight all of them, that's not what's going to plot. So after highlighting the first part, I'll press the Control key and hold it down, and then I'll highlight the sums or the totals down at the bottom. And then we have Insert. Let's look at recommended charts. It doesn't show up. So it's over here. A Pareto is under this histogram looking icon. It's the second one right here. And when I click it, there we go. We're most of the way there. We'll add axis titles and label those percent defects, frequency, and reasons for defects. And then the chart title should be something like Pareto of defective shipments. You never want to leave it chart title. You never want to say Pareto by itself, because it's obviously a Pareto. So Pareto of what? So you always want to describe that. All right, let's go on to the second one. And what we have here is the average number of shipments per worker versus number of defects charts. If you go back to the instructions, you'll see we're really looking for 2 lines on this chart. However, a line chart may not be the best option. We're going to go ahead and insert a line chart, and we'll see what happens. So we need the number of shipments with defects, so we need that, and we need the average number of shipments per worker. Well, that's a blank column, but we can calculate it really quickly. So it's the number of shipments that comes from column C divided by the number of workers that comes from column L. So we just go over here and type in a simple formula, equals C 10 divided by L 10. And I'm sorry, it should be the number of shipments. That's B10. I'm sorry, not C10. And so you have 6.15 shipments per worker. So we'll just copy that down. And now we'll need this column, and we want the weeks to show up. So but we'll do that a little bit later. So let's highlight this column. Don't highlight the cum. If you do, your scale is going to be off. It's just blown up. It'll be all of these numbers will show up in less than 1/10 of the scale, which is not helpful. So Control, I do this part, and then I hit Control, and I do this, and we hit Insert, and we do a line, and we want one with the markers. That looks generally like what I want, but it faked me off the first time. Because what's wrong with it? Well, our data starts with week 1 and goes through week 10. This is showing week 2 through week 11. And at least so far, I haven't found a way to fix that. So there is a way to generate the chart we want, but I'm just not sure that I can do it from a line chart. So I'm going to delete that one. Well, no, I'll leave it up there and we can compare. So I'm going to leave that up here, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to create a chart a little bit differently. And the chart, let's move this over here to the side. The chart that we're going to create is going to be an XY chart, but to do an XY chart, I'm going to need to plot all of it versus the week. So we're going to highlight the weeks and then hit Control and then highlight number of shipments with defects and then average number of shipments per worker. So we're going to go into, so insert, but this time we're going to do an XY chart and we're going to do the one with the straight lines and markers. And when we do that, we have a chart that's right but doesn't look so good. It looks a lot like this chart, but instead of starting at 2, it starts at 1, but it doesn't show the 1. So there's a couple of ways that you could do that, fix that. And it also, it's just sort of, it's just not showing anything. I can move this over to where it starts at 1 here, but if I do that, then you have to sort of trust me on this. 10 won't be showing. There will be a marker at 9 and 11, but not at 10. So I want to do something about that. So, now I want to format plot area, and please, if you're in a PC, then you should see up here to the right of plot area options, you'll see a little arrow. If you're in a Mac, different story, you have to go about this differently. If you're in a Mac, you'd have to highlight your horizontal axis and then go through a Format tab. Hopefully I'll have more on that later, but that's a hint. You can get there, just not the same way. If you click sort of between the grid lines, then you'll end up with this box around the whole plot area. Then you can go over here to plot area options, go to your horizontal value axis, go over to the axis options, which is the bar chart icon there, and click axis options. Then I can change my units to 1, and I can make it start at 1. So that reformats the chart in a way that makes more sense. Every one of our points is numbered. That came from giving 1 for the units here for the major axis. And we started the minimum at 1 instead of 0. And so we started with the first one. There's no week 0 here. And that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is that you can actually click on the axis that you want to deal with. So if you clicked on the vertical lines, then you're dealing with the horizontal axis. And then when you go over and look at the options, you'll basically already be there. And you go to these axis options. If you wanted to deal with the vertical, you click on those lines, and you'll get the vertical axis options. So it would be nice for your chart to look good, but it's critical that it be accurate. And showing from week 1 to week 11 is, or week 2 to week 11 is not accurate. Our data is week 1 to week 10. So if you left it alone in the beginning, it would not be right. So there's the chart. Has the same shape as this one over here, but again, this one starts at week 2 and goes to week 11, which is not right. So we used an XY chart with lines and markers. And of course, now you have to go in and add your axis titles, edit your chart title, and so on. And then you answer these questions 3 and 4. Big hint. So 3 is answered by a Pareto chart, and 4 is answered with your second chart here, this line chart or XY chart. in the third answer, or activity 3, you can have more than one defect that you choose to deal with. Again, think of the 80-20 rule and deal with it appropriately. Thanks. Good luck.